This is Euphrates River in 2020, and this is Euphrates River now. The river has dried up, but why this news is so important for Christians and what science says about it. To answer these questions, first we need to understand the river itself. Since different prophets throughout the human history has proclaimed that only God knows the hour or day of the second coming, preachers and doomsayers around the globe have been predicting when it would occur and seeing the sun rise on yet another generation. Even those who chastise date setters often say, God's final judgment is coming soon, probably in our lifetime, so get ready. In recent weeks, doomsayers have cited a new reason for believing the apocalypse is approaching. People have started debates on prophecy websites, in Bible study groups, and in churches. But why these people are so concerned right now? What exactly is the reason behind it? To explore these questions, we have to tell you about the terrifying story of the Euphrates River. So please stay with us till the end of the video because you don't want to miss out on this one. In ancient times, many civilizations have thrived along the Euphrates banks. The Mesopotamian Empire was one of its most prominent civilizations that occupied the area between the Tigris and Euphrates River, which is known as the Fertile Crescent. That region of the world is now located in Iraq. The Euphrates is the longest river in Asia, stretching a distance of over 1,730 miles, originating from the Armenian mountains in eastern Turkey. The river flows to the Persian Gulf through Turkey, Syria, and Iraq along the way. The Euphrates River flows through steep gorges and canyons in Turkey, then through lowlands in Syria before cutting clear across Iraq and entering into the Persian Gulf. Although different ancient civilizations have substantially altered the landscape in most regions of the Euphrates basin, remnants of ancient flora survive. The Euphrates gets majority of its water from rainfall and melting snow, resulting in peak flows from April to May. You've probably heard of Babylon. This ancient city was founded more than 4,000 years ago. The ancient Babylonians and Syrians built their empire in what is referred to today as Mesopotamia, which is the current area of land surrounded on both sides by both Euphrates and the Tigris rivers. Babylon grew to become one of the most powerful cities in the ancient world under the rule of Hammurabi. According to biblical references, the Euphrates flowed through Babylon as it served as the city's source of nourishment for its crops and provided water for the Babylonian people. In a nutshell, the city of Babylon could not have survived without Euphrates. In 1946, an agreement was reached between Turkey and Iraq that required Turkey to report to Iraq on any hydraulic changes made to the Tigris-Euphrates river system. The agreement also permitted Iraq to build dams on Turkish territory to govern the flow of the Euphrates. But in the 1970s, Turkey rolled out the Southeastern Anatolia project, also known as GAP. The river flow towards Iraq decreased from 15.3 cubic kilometers in 1973 to 9.4 cubic kilometers in 1975. This sparked an international crisis, with Iraq threatening to bomb the Tapka Dam. Eventually, the matter was resolved after Saudi Arabia and the Soviet Union intervened. The cascading effect of the numerous dams being built in Turkey and Syria have affected Iraq in the most devastating way. Almost 382 villages and about 200,000 people have been relocated elsewhere due to shortage of water. Over the course of the last 2 decades, water flow from the Euphrates River has been continually reduced, subsequently depriving regions and areas that depend on the river for irrigation and drinking water. However, in recent years, water levels in the Euphrates River have dropped to dangerously low levels. Recent photographs taken along the Euphrates River's banks show that a substantial portion of the river has dried up. In 1987, Turkey had committed to releasing a minimum of 500 cubic meters of water per second across the Syrian border. But currently, Turkey is only releasing 200 cubic per second, which is less than half of the amount agreed. Turkey has been exploiting the Euphrates as a weapon against the Syrians for years. Now many areas in Syria and Iraq have devolved into desert lands. Water levels in Syria's dam lakes have plummeted as a result of the water cuts by Turkey, while electrical output and supply to the region have also reduced significantly. Additionally, the amount of agricultural land on the Euphrates banks is shrinking. Turkey has also significantly contaminated the water that remains on the riverbed. This is because water from Turkey and Syria most times contains dissolved fertilizer chemicals used on fields, which are then released into the Euphrates River headed into Syria and Iraq. The shortage of water is producing some serious health issues as people cannot access safe drinking water. According to Autonomous Administration of North and East Syria, this could generate humanitarian crises in the region. The dropping water levels have concerned geological scientists, leaving them perplexed and anxious about what is creating this frightening crisis. According to the Global Climate Danger Index, Syria is one of the nations most at risk, with Lake Assad suffering as a result of this cycle. Because there are just a few logical explanations for why the river is drying up, people have assumed that this occurrence is related to the biblical prophecies. There are biblical references that make mention to a prophecy regarding the drying up of the Euphrates, an end of the world, which we are seeing unfold in today's world. People believe it was inevitable because the Bible mentions it. When Revelation was written in the 1st century, the Euphrates separated east from west, and the kingdoms of China and India lay beyond it to the east. Centuries before, Cyrus of Persia's army diverted the Euphrates River and conquered Babylon. The river used to run through the city, so they were able to march into Babylon and take the city on the dry riverbed. In the Great Tribulation, the eastern invader will cross the Euphrates, march through Babylon, and enter Palestine. The Euphrates is referred to as the Great River 5 times in the Bible. It marked the eastern limit of Israel's inheritance. Because the river was difficult to cross and a wilderness to the west separated Israel from the promised land of Canaan, it provided some protection for Israel. Recently, there have been some strange occurrences observed on the riverbed of the Euphrates. People have been exploring the areas of the river that were previously inaccessible as they were underwater. People have claimed to discover caves in strange shapes that are not common to any caves that could have been constructed by man. Some of these caves have a striking similarity to prison bars designed to hold someone or something. In addition to these weirdly shaped caves, people have recorded various terrifying sounds coming from the ground. Some have described the sounds as noises of groaning and agony that would simply make your skin crawl and give you nightmares. Some even stating they have heard what could be linked to moving chains originating from under the earth. People make these claims possibly in an attempt to justify the Bible reference. This reinforces people's beliefs that the current events are a sign of Christ's second coming to conquer his enemies and establish his heavenly kingdom. So what do you think? Is the river drying up due to political issues and climate change, or does it have something to do with prophecies? One thing is clear, we do know for a fact, is that the region surrounding the Euphrates River is threatened with a desertification that could wipe out nearly 40% of the region with reduced annual rainfall and the subsequent drying up of the river. Tell us in the comments about your views.